Till Whalen, bearer of burdens, I have completed my report, as you requested. We have discovered it is difficult out in the far reaches of space for a pimp, defined for the purposes of this treatise, as an individual in pursuit of money for the purpose of repaying owed expenses, for the starships and the fuel and jump drives therefore, and of whom a large number of warlocks and dragons speak derisively. In our existence, we have witnessed and experienced many strange events, with, at times, several individuals working under our command. But even now, we must maintain focus, like the light of soul through a magnifying glass. To take from one who is ignorant, or to profit from a lack of consent, is unjust. We have seen murders unavenged, foul deeds completed, and impoverished souls starve. The universe can be cold and without reason. This may be a new discovery to you, Till Whalen, bearer of burdens, but it has persisted in this manner for time out of memory. For those beings with blood, sweat, tears, and other such fluids, life can seem overwhelmingly composed of same. But to effect change, we require this reward. Again, it is difficult out in the far reaches of space for a pimp. And so we entreat the divine light of soul to guide us and ensure we do not falter. Live from the internet, it's Final Show Films Thursday night. Hi, folks. Thanks for joining us here at Final Show Films. Please come and check out all of our fantastic, diversionary, interesting little things that you can watch. They're all available at www.finalshowfilms.com. If you like what we do, you can support us at patreon.com/fsfilms. And we are especially grateful for all of our supporters. And we'd like to call out an extra special shout out to our $25 and up supporters, Drevian Alexander, Cat Waterflame, Samantha Bates, and Elle. Thank you all so very much. You let things like what just happened happen, so it's kind of your fault. You can again also check us out. We're on Spotify now, and also apparently we were, which was new to some of us. So if that's new to you, hey, we're on there. There's probably Google and any kind of podcatchers that catch your pods. You can catch us. We're on YouTube, and if you're watching us on Twitch, you don't need me to tell you about that because you're already there.
Huh.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gustus. That was real helpful. Give me plenty to think about.
Till Whalen, bearer of burdens, to ease those burdens.
Yeah, that's what you just did.
I like the idea that the whole Final Show film thing
Was
was
also just
also
us.
part of Justus's monologue.
Are we on the booth now?
Yeah, we are. we got back just in time for chat to go. Huh.
Oh, welcome everybody. Welcome back to Stardust RPG on Trails of Stardust. I'm William Orshani, and I am your game master for this fucking nonsense.
And we're only just getting started today.
Oh yeah.
It's hard out there for a pimp, but it's hard in here for a me.
Oh, this was great. I loved every second of that. Thank you so much. Joining me today, we have Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I am playing Kendall Fairchild, an Eladrin warlock who is going to try to seduce a dragon today. We're going to see how that goes.
I predict interestingly.
Well, yes, especially since I think people are vastly overestimating Kendall's game, including Kendall.
Yeah.
If Kindle fails, Mistle is here. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Mistle will seduce the dragon.
Yes, she's been.
No,
taking
Mistle got
notes.
assigned to
That's
the
him.
away team.
And if Mistle fails, then it's on Till.
And Sen.
I'm saying I'm not here. I am playing Colton, the artificer, gadgeteer, master maker, who's just standing back, going just like the last one standing, going, I'm sorry, I don't know what they were all doing.
And Jack the Second.
Hi, I'm Jack the Second. I play Surprise, an ethereal sorcerer who's going to lead a heist.
Criminal mastermind.
Well, criminal something, that's for sure. Mastermind
Criminal
is yet to be
mind.
discovered.
Criminal mind.
And Holly.
Hey, I'm Holly. I'm playing Mistel in Foreign Rogue, who doesn't realize what seduction actually is, even though she's been taking notes on it.
And Craig.
I play Just Us, a Swarmkeeper Ranger, Domain of Light Cleric, and Philosopher now, I guess.
We'll call it philosophy. Yeah, sure. Are you publishing that?
And
Probably.
and Jack the Elder.
Hey, everybody. My name's Jack. I am playing Till Wayland, the ostensible leader of this ragtag band of nutballs. He's a Way of the Iron Path monk. He's an avian from a spacer family, and hopefully going to get this new ship a better engine with the help of all of this nonsense.
Oh, fuck. My face hurts. And as always, Black Lives Matter, trans rights are human rights. Eat the rich. Be safe out there, anyone who is either still or will be in the future feeling the effects of a hurricane that just passed through.
And if you're passing by Fulton County Jail, just point and laugh.
Oh, is that where he's at right now?
I mean, I don't know
Yeah,
if
he's in Fulton
That's-
County.
I don't know if that's where he's at currently, but that's where his mugshot was taken.
It's-
So
There's commemorative graffiti.
yeah, and it says MAGA. My ass got arrested.
That's perfect.
Yeah, no, he's out on bail. He's not in a jail cell
No.
by any stretch of the
But yes,
imagination.
Fulton County is where he got his mugshot taken. So again,
Mhm.
point and laugh.
There you go.
Hold on. William's frozen, but he's still talking in the other room.
No,
You're frozen. Hold on.
Shawnee, turn off your Starfield download.
I got mine done like 2 days ago.
I'll be right back for unrelated reasons.
Turn off the Starfield download in Steam.
It's not downloading yet. I legitimately just need to run a Holly at some point. I need to just run an Ethernet cable from my computer to that router because the Wi-Fi on this computer has been getting steadily worse.
I'm fine with that. Talk to the Austin. He knows these things. I don't.
Yeah, when last we left off, this group had it hatched some plans.
Several, in fact.
Intending to in exchange for getting the starship engine that they needed for their new vessel, had agreed to acquire a magical orb of draconic power from a black dragon, famously known throughout the various nations as Sturiel Faust. And to do so, several different plans had been hatched. The initial one being to attempt diplomacy to see if perhaps a bargain could be struck between the
Quickly
Black Dragon
abandoned.
and the Dust Knights to see if there might be some way to acquire the to acquire the orb peacefully. This method of diplomacy was very quickly augmented by an offer from Kendall to seduce the dragon in order to gain the upper hand for these negotiations. We'll see how that goes.
Augmented is a strong word.
Let's be specific. The exact phrasing was "get the dragon D."
More like augloffmented. I'm the only
Yeah,
one who
no.
reads Ogloff. That's fine.
You lost. You lost.
No, I know who Ogloff is.
Yeah.
I just refused to laugh.
That's fair.
The secondary plan was put in place to try and perform a heist. If possible, theoretically, even while negotiations were ongoing. That certainly won't potentially cause a problem with negotiations if the heist is discovered while negotiations are ongoing. But in preparation for assisting with their attempts to seduce Furiel Faust, the ancient black dragon, Kendall has decided to seek out a contact from an enjoyable previous knight who is simply in their phone as Tongue.
Quick clarifying question. Is the T capitalized or not?
Yes, because auto capitalization probably.
Is there are there any punctuation added to it?
I don't think so, because again, like whether it was typed in or whether it is a nickname or just a reference to a body part, it would have been lowercase regardless, and then auto corrected to uppercase with any potential punctuation removed.
Clarifying question.
Word emojis.
No.
Clarifying question. If I recall, is your phone is also your arcane focus for your magic?
I believe your arcane focus is also your pact because it's your necklace.
Yes.
Okay, cool. For some reason I had in my brain that your phone was your focus, and I was really concerned about what that might mean. But never mind. Carry on.
No, wait. I think you might actually be right on this, because the necklace can be taken off and given to other people.
Right, yes.
Mechanically.
Yeah,
And that thematically would not work well for that's where I get my power from.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. I think it's my phone.
That's what I remembered from early in the campaign, that it was your phone that was your focus. So what is the font? Because there's no way it's a standard phone font if it's an
it's
Archfey
100% not. It is.
It's Helvetica, but with 2 L's.
No, that would be if it was a Fiend Warlock, but I appreciate that.
I know.
Also,
I feel
Helvetica
like
is a real font, and it is basically a font that the kerning is intentionally fucked up between each letter, and several of the letters are different fonts from one another. Anyways, continue.
What?
I feel like it's something that would be a little tacky, but not too tacky. It's papyrus.
Yes, I am satisfied.
Because it's the right amount of whimsical for Faye. It is a little bit tacky, but it's not too tacky. It
Sorry,
still
this
looks
is the font on what again?
The phone.
On the phone.
The font on your phone? Okay, the font.
Yeah.
All the text on your phone is in papyrus?
Yeah.
Excellent.
100%.
And just so that other people can suffer through this too,
What have you done?
I'm just going to put it in the Roll20 chat, a link to Helvetica. It's not actually, the individual letters aren't actually different fonts. That's a different font. But it is intentionally fucked up.
That is
kerning.
the worst. Get that off my screen.
I love that the tagline
Holy-
for this font is "Kern in Hell."
Yes, the tagline is Kern in Hell. It's horrible. It's the worst.
No.
It's the worst font.
Oh, I'm gonna use this for some World of Darkness shit.
I type my resignation letters in Helvetica.
Okay, fair. But no, that hurts my fucking editor brain.
So, to begin with, before we get to Kendall and Tongue,
The Marleys were dead to begin with.
we open with surprise and a conversation with Till and a phone that is currently being held to allow Surprise to call an individual on the world of Nocturna.
So yeah, now I'm completely forgetting the Oracle's name. Let me pull up the party notes. She's right at the top. Janya can maybe give you some insight as far as where her ability to see the future places your existence as far as what's apparently coming down the spaceways.
Then I think we should call her then.
All right. Well, go ahead and hit the green button. We'll see what she has to say.
Is just us there, or is it this just the two of you?
Just the two of them.
Okay.
Phone rings a couple of times. And after a moment, it picks up. Surprise. Till. A pleasure to hear from you.
Okay, that's a little creepy.
She knows
is
what's
what
going to
I do.
happen before. Yeah. Hi, Janya.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Well, Surprise is kind of our newest teammate, and kind of was wondering if you had any insight as far as where she fits in to this whole shenanigan.
I thought it would be nice to know the actual wording of the diagnosis and whether or not it's catching.
Oh, you wish to know the mechanics of fate.
I mean, if you got them on hand.
I will repeat to you what I told the rest of the Dust Knights on their meeting with me. Fate is not something that is set in stone. It is not something that can be read to perfect prediction. Fate is a series of circumstances and situations. It is the galaxy putting events in front of people and will always be ultimately determined by the decisions those people make in that moment. Fate is a series of questions and are formed by your answers to them.
So what you're saying is I do what I want.
Always.
You sure know how to sweet talk an ethereal.
The fate that I have seen for the Dust Knights is that they are in the position to be the ones most capable of halting the advance of a dangerous dimensional invasion. What they do with that information, whether they succeed or not, is up to them and the decisions they make in moment to moment. The Dust Knights, as an individual, may grow or shrink as members arrive or leave. But the entity that is their combined effort is what is vital to this destiny. It is only as a group that the Dust Knights may prevail or fail in altering this fate. It is up to you to decide what to do with that.
I think I can work with that.
May I help with anything else?
Actually, you don't happen to know if Hurl Faust has a particular weak
He does
spot?
indeed have the orb, but as far as weaknesses, you'd best be looking less for weaknesses and more for convergences, places where his goals may align with yours.
Okay.
Hi, we're here to stop an interplanetary invasion of fiends on the world at large, and in order to do so, we need a ship that can help us fight them. In order to do that, we need that orb you've got in your treasury. Could you help?
Uriel Faust is an individual that I do not see many situations in which you will triumph in a direct confrontation.
Well, that's why we're going to be sneaky.
Indeed. And while that may prove to your advantage, you would likely be gaining a powerful enemy who holds grudges for a very long time. You could do this, and I foresee danger in your future. I foresee danger in your future no matter what approach you take. But the individual known as Furiel Faust is above all pragmatic. And should an appropriate case be made, can be reasoned with, even to part with that which he values, so long as that which he values more remains in its proper place. There are ways and information that you could glean that would assist in creating perhaps not an ally, but a resource out of this dragon. Just understand that you will also be a resource to him.
I mean, that's kind of... We joined the Core Adventurers Guild. Being a resource is kind of comes with the territory, so I don't think that's going to bother anybody too much.
And of course, whatever you do, do not threaten his daughter.
Okay.
I mean, Kindle explicitly wants to be a resource for Faust.
Is there anything else?
Everything okay with you? You doing all right down there on Nocturna?
I get by. I could use a little bit more sunshine, but such is the planet I chose to call my home.
We've got kind of a sunshiny person that might be convinced to drop by for a visit.
Yes, I'm sure the Secret Keeper desires to have a conversation with me at some point.
Yeah. He woke up, so I'm sure you saw that coming at some point. But yeah, maybe he'll be in touch. I'll see.
The word you were looking for then is receptacle, not resource.
I was just thinking of something that you could utilize again and again and again.
I have a much clearer view of the past than the future. I saw the moment his new self emerged.
I think Kindle's worth like 2, maybe 3 dots in resources.
Rug system.
I mean, I don't think it's worth bragging about having a clearer view of the past than the future. I think that's pretty universal.
There's an old film called Memento that you should watch, surprise.
I'm down to watch movies.
Excellent. We'll get a crew night together.
My task as an oracle is to see and understand things. This includes events that are happening right now. For instance, you should probably be aware that your former ward, Till, is likely about to have significant portions of her memory excised. I'm sure you've had that plan discussed already, but just...
this is the first I'm hearing about it. We'll be in touch. Thanks, Janya. Click.
Hi,
That's-
Tongue.
That said, Mistle was on her way after she left Kindle to talk to Till about this.
So you probably run into Till going roughly full speed out of the bridge.
Oh, Till, I need to talk to you about
Where's
Kindle.
Kendall?
Oh, she's going to meet this person that she met the other night to have like our plan taken out of her head so that she can focus on seducing Faust.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
And I was
Surprise.
supposed to tell
Come,
everyone.
please. You still have it.
Oh, yeah, here you go.
And I'm going to. How long ago did she leave?
Like 10 minutes ago?
Okay.
I came to find you right away.
Did she tell you where she was going?
No, she had a contact in her phone.
He's gone. Coltarn,
Yes.
I need you to ping Kendall's communicator. We need to find out where she's at on Gilgamesh right now. Send coordinates to my comm as soon as you have them.
Why?
I don't think it's a big issue.
She's about to make a bad decision at the wrong time. And
Wait.
Till is headed out the.
Wait, Till. Why do we want her to know
What?
about the heist? If she's gonna go do the thing with the dragon, why do we want her to know about the heist?
Till can't hear you anymore. He is out of earshot.
He flies very fast.
Being dumb and buy it.
Mistle had attached herself to Till.
Okay.
Shoulder, head, whatever she can get.
Can if he's going at full speed, I think Mistle might need to make an athletics check. I don't know
acrobatics. Pick one.
Okay. I don't know how high the DC would necessarily be.
Acrobatics.
I will.
The prize is gonna lazily just sort of drop through the floor until they get to engineering, where they expect Coltarn is, and probably beat Till there.
Well,
Till's headed out the ship,
Till's
so-
already out.
I was gonna say,
Oh.
yeah. I called
Okay.
Coltarn on my comm and asked
then
him for
I'll
that
just
favor.
Coltarn in and tell him that I think it's a bad idea to enable Till.
So,
So unless are you actively trying to throw Mistle off, or do you just not care if she's falling?
No, I'm just making as full speed as possible. So if
I
11's
will,
enough for her to hang
I will
on,
say an 11 is enough for her to at least hold
All
on.
right,
As you fly,
okay.
as you fly at full speed.
as Mistle's doing dog with head out window.
Slow down.
so
So Coltarn,
yeah. Explain to me
I
what's
know
going on,
Till's like
Surprise.
in charge, but you might want to consider belaying that message. Because we've got one person who's going to go fuck the dragon that we are going to go steal stuff from,
Is that
who is
legitimately
currently
the
trying to
plan?
forget that we're going to steal stuff from the dragon. And for some reason, Till thinks that's a bad idea.
I'm very confused.
Well, maybe you should just sit down until you understand.
I'm just gonna call Till back on the comm.
Still, your comm is ringing for Coltarn.
Right. So there's probably some atmospheric turbulence over the mic, but he comes through. Coltarn, what do we have?
First question: what?
I need to find Kendall as quickly as possible before she does something that might undermine this plan if it's not done at exactly the right time in exactly the right way.
Could you be clearer, please?
She's going to change her memory, I believe, based on what Mistle said. Mistle, tell me if I'm getting anything that's wrong.
She just wanted to forget about the heist.
Which is potentially helpful, but we might need to do this at the proper time because there's still planning in place that we might need her to consult on, and if she removes her memory, that's going to make things much harder and much more complicated unless she
Okay.
does it at the right time once all of the planning has been completed, and we also figure out if maybe there's other people who need their memory excised as well.
So, Till, let me just field this then. Instead of blitzing out after her, invading her privacy, finding her location and her friends and contacts, and utterly ruining any friendly relationship you might have with her in the immediate sense, we could, and this is just a suggestion, erase her memory again in the future if needed.
And if we find somebody to do it, aren't we going to an entirely different place next?
And we might need her to have those thoughts intact in order for us to be effective there as well.
If I'm understanding correctly, so far, the plan that has been presented by Kendall is to remove the knowledge of the theoretically planned potential heist that we have no actual plans for yet and no actual actionable data for yet from her brain. I appreciate those thoughts, Surprise. Well, we don't have anything actionable yet from her brain, which will amount to roughly, if I were to put this in technical terms, about 10 megabytes of data from her brain erased. This is information that could be reinstituted into her memory with a single conversation.
Or a single spell if any of you have access to Greater Resto.
Or a single spell. I don't think it's as critical of an issue as you are believing it to be in the moment. I think you are stressed and overreacting. And you might need to...
So, Shani, I'm getting a lot of runaround from my companions here. What do I need to roll to see if I can track down Kendall myself the old-fashioned way, given that I've probably covered, in the amount of time that this conversation has happened, about a half mile of linear distance?
Roll me survival.
Coltart's like, so if I'm understanding correctly, she's erasing 5 sentences from her brain, and you're freaking out about it.
We have no idea what
she's... chaos.
As you say, we have no idea what she's erasing from her brain.
We'll find out when we talk to her in 30 minutes.
All of this is happening. Meanwhile, Just Us is like still standing on the observation deck, just going, artificial sun's nice today.
I hope Till liked my thesis.
I'm going to use my inspiration on this. One better. Okay.
Just Us like, we should write more.
Right?
It's a big station, but you know the station. And you also know roughly where she'd be going, considering it was someone that she met recently. I will say that you are in the right area, even if you have not exactly located Kendall yet.
You could also try calling her. Coltarn says over the comms.
I was about to say, can Mistle try calling her while Till's
No, I really wanted him to rush in there, freaking out, show up, and then have her say, "Why didn't you call me?"
Look, Jeremy, I'm trying to get in the right frame of mind for
No,
Sunday's
I'm all
game.
for it. I'm all for it. Yeah, okay, fair point.
So like, culminating in, you could also just call her Mistle, calling Kendall.
So, Mr. Kendall, your phone goes off with Mistle's number.
I feel like I'm like right outside the door where I'm supposed to be. Like, oh
yeah,
hey, what's up?
How are you? She's pulling.
Why? What's wrong?
Till, going fast.
What? Why? Why? Are you under attack? What's up?
He's trying to find you.
Why?
Because erasing things from brain bad, according to Till.
But and there's just about 2 seconds of silence.
I'm gonna fall off.
And suddenly, much calmer. Where are you right now?
I don't tell. Where are we?
Till we'll give you a set of cross corridors.
Okay.
Which is probably
on X and Y, yeah. Street intersection.
Effectively, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll find you. Click.
She'll find us.
All right. Was it? I'll find you in like an intentional.
Oh yeah,
sort
she's
of
mad at you.
No. Was it? I'll find you like an intentional sort of statement where it sounds like she's actively engaged in that right now, or was it? I'll find you in the sense of they'll wait until I'm done doing what I actually came here to do ahead of time, and then I'll wander in later so that they just stay in one place and don't actually come find me and have a conversation before we actually do
You
something.
know, I trust her, so I'm gonna say she's coming
Insight
to find
check.
us.
Nat one, baby. There we go.
I love how
Why would you just
Till
trust Mistle?
hasn't yet
Fuck.
dropped. Like, Till hasn't yet dropped the bodyguard mentality.
100%.
Oh yeah.
That surprise called him out on that to an empty bridge.
Why are you overreacting on this, by the way?
And I'm making my way there.
Might be overreacting. You are not incorrect.
That's
Is
what
it
I
because you
said.
like
Still
her?
in the comms.
Sorry, what?
Oh, is it because you like her?
I have no fucking idea how I feel about Kendall personally.
Well, you are acting like a bit of a possessive boyfriend right now.
Yeah.
I've never had a possessive boyfriend, so I'll take your word for that.
I have.
Okay. Well, we can
Teenage dwarves tend to be possessive boyfriends.
Yeah, really.
we can discuss that a bit later when I understand that there's a lot of I've had some bad run-ins with memory modifications before, so I might be a bit paranoid about this particular circumstance. Sure.
Yeah, but you're not a bodyguard anymore. Kendall can make her own choices. And she chose not to consult you first.
Are we still on the phone call with them? I'm guessing.
Yes.
I
that's-
suggest so.
Yeah, because
Connie?
Surprise is like right next to me with the call.
Right, yeah. You
on speaker.
guys are on
It's on
speaker.
speaker.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Jeremy.
I am. Hold on, I'm checking something here really quick. So I can't do that one.
You're not super
Um,
far from the intersection.
yeah. I am. The first thing that I am doing is Misty stepping. I am getting there as quick as I can.
Okay.
Partially because I want to be there unseen for at least part of this conversation.
I'm on speakerphone specifically because I'm still working on the crew. Like, just like, it's still
And
putting
because if you
together a
weren't,
person.
Surprise would put you on speakerphone.
So I'm going to Misty step and then cast Fly. So my movement speed
It's a
doubles.
60-foot fly speed, yeah.
And I just, at some point, I'm just sitting on the leaning against the corner of a wall, watching this conversation.
May I request some sort of roll, given that my passive perception is
Absolutely.
22?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Roll stealth.
Hold on, I'm checking. Yeah, okay, no.
Monks and their passive perception.
14. Let me see what I can do about that.
I will, however, say that this will be an active perception because you are trying to spot someone on your periphery while having a conversation with several people.
Absolutely, 100%.
And if it's a failure, I'm going to use one of my Pact of the Talisman abilities. Also, I have 4 inspiration, so we're going to see how this goes.
Okay, so you need to beat a 19.
Okay, so my
I
pact
have one
won't help
inspiration
me.
left too, so I'm just gonna roll that real quick right now.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
23.
I love how
aiming
we're
to beat a
putting all
23.
of our resources into this.
You're just gonna burn it all right out the gate. I am out of inspiration.
This is the final show film's promise.
Ooh.
We will waste all of our resources before they're needed, and then in combat, wish we had them.
Because
Use that
drama.
talisman.
We're going to be
Yep.
rolling to seduce the dragon, and Kendall's going to have nothing to use.
So use one of those, which I think is actually the first time I fucking used this.
You use the Pact of the Talisman? Probably, yeah, I think so. It's a tie, so I will say that you notice that she's there, but not before she gets there.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fair.
Sup, Till?
Kendall, hi.
Are we using the nice voice now?
I have a nice voice?
Yeah, because you just used it.
I mute my comm and then turn to surprise. Let's see how long it takes him to notice we're still on the comm.
Oh, thank you so much for muting. I want to hear every word.
So, all right.
Kendall.
Hey, I'm fine.
She'll fly over and sit on Kendall.
I haven't erased my memories yet. I know things.
Okay. Good. I was given the very brief summary of what you were planning on doing, and I think that I don't want you to do something. I think that having it done at the right time is also very important to making it work effectively.
Okay.
And based on what Mistel said, I assume it's so that when you're talking with Faust, it's harder for him to become aware that there might be a backup plan playing out.
Yeah, and also if you guys get found out too, so then I'm sure he'll question, and then if I don't know anything, it's just a coincidence. Or if you
Okay.
don't get found out and it vanishes,
Right. All right.
it's plausible deniability.
I like plausible deniability. How well do we know who this person who's going to take out your memory, though?
It was a good lay.
Maybe.
Well enough.
Okay, so trustworthy.
I'd
whole
say
shit.
so.
Does he know your father?
No. I don't think so. No.
Okay, so not a family contact is what you're saying.
No.
Okay, all right.
I wouldn't want to use a family contact anyways, because then if things go really truly bad, and Fausti goes and finds the person who erased my memory, I don't want it to blow back on Dad.
Okay, that makes sense. Should we get everybody else who's going to be on your team's memory erase too then?
Who's gonna be on my team is
Everybody who's not sneaking is doing diplomacy.
Just Us is going to be with you, and Coltarn is going to be with you.
that's gonna make things real awkward during the sex.
I don't think they'll be with you during that stage per se, although
Very quiet.
Just for surprise.
I'm not there.
Just for surprise's sake, Coltarn slips the wrench that he was twisting with at the mention of him being there during the sex. And just like...
What? You don't like dragons?
Nope, nope. Nothing's wrong. Just continue back to working.
Amazing.
okay. All right. But
So-
no, probably
but
not. But there's probably going to
you-
be. Yeah, go ahead.
You have concerns about this plan.
Some
Okay.
and
Body.
more about the timing and whether it's
Mm-hmm. And so your reaction
was
instead
to
of
come
being
and try have a
normal person and calling me was to race through the streets fast enough that apparently Mista was having to hold on for dear life.
Yeah, he's really fast.
Till will name 3 planets here.
Okay.
Okay.
all of them were planets where, while he was Kendall's bodyguard, she managed to get out of sight for a period of time and definitely did not answer his calls, which were the first thing that he tried to do.
See, I told you, still bodyguard mine.
Right, but till you realize things have changed kind of significantly since that.
Well, yeah, but I still assume that you would not feel bad about ignoring a phone call that you didn't want to have at the time, so I figured I'd just come in person.
But the point is, you didn't even try. You just assumed and rushed off.
Yes, I did. Seemed more logical.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So anyway, that's my thought on the whole memory erase side of things. With that bit of input, what's the plan for you at this point?
I mean, if we want to get the plan figured out first, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that.
I mean, I
because
also
I
don't
can be
want...
talked to like a reasonable person.
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
And the other thing being, of course, we are probably going to be making at least a pit stop at Volkir to do more research on Faust.
Mm-hmm.
But if your memory eraser is here, obviously we might not want to then have to come back to Gilgamesh to get this procedure done. So
you're saying we should bring Tongue along?
Their
name is Tongue?
Is it
well, that's the name that's in the phone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know them, so I don't know if it would be a good idea to bring them along or not. What can you tell me about them?
This is where things get interesting. Would you like to roll a history check to see what you might remember?
Sure. I will do that, and then we'll see how much lying I'm going to be doing.
Is it a pattern kill to be better at making plans?
I mean,
time.
So with a natural 20, you remember that Tongue A is a troll.
Okay. Fits.
And B was the kind of bard who is shall we say adventurous in many regards.
Okay.
And the he very much strikes you as the probably willing to come along if required, especially to Volkir, which is a planet that, you know, trolls are welcome on.
Okay.
And you don't know him that well personally, but
right.
He was a good lay and B, a good bard. So
there you go.
The music was rocking all night, even while he was rocking all night.
Nice. So he's a troll.
All right.
Decent guy.
All right.
I think we can trust him. I think he'd be willing to come along.
All right. I mean, you know more about this situation than I do.
Very skilled.
Great. I had a few concerns, but they've been voiced now, so I feel fine with whatever, obviously, whatever you want to do at this point. I was just... Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Everyone's rolling shit for insight today.
I mean, I always roll shit for insight with Kendall. She does have a -1. Also me.
Mistle,
Cool,
you
well,
all right?
I'm gonna-
Sorry, I was going a bit fast there.
Yeah, I'm okay now. She said
All
she's
right.
over there just like braiding Kendall's hair.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna go get tongue. Mister, do you want to come with?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to meet Tongue.
We'll meet you. We'll meet you back on the ship. And she just turns around and starts walking.
Great. All right.
I,
Bye.
Till.
I wait.
Bye, Mistle.
I wait until the goodbyes are
She-
done, and then I unmute the comm and go. So
No,
do you still need us on
I've
call?
unmuted
still?
again.
Well,
It's
the
not
thing-
my comm.
It's in my head, so it's hard for other people to unmute or
Yeah.
unmute it.
Damn.
I was gonna say, Mistle was the one I think who made the call.
No,
So-
she called Kendall.
No, I
Oh, she
called.
called
I
Kendall.
called
the others,
I
yeah.
called
Okay,
you.
that's right. You
I
called
called
me. Yep.
you.
mhm.
So do you still need us on comms still?
No, I think we're good.
All right. See you back at the ship.
Right.
So they walk away. Mistral just whispers to Kendall, "Yeah, he definitely has a thing for you."
Right? That's why this is gonna be fun.
Our fearless leader did amazing, don't you think?
Till is going to, on his way back to the ship, try and stop by one of the less friendly parts of the station. And honestly, he's looking for any sort of pest infestation, space rats or whatever you want to call them.
Oh no!
And he's just gonna take long
Look at the
shot
nail
out,
womp rats in a T16.
kind of, but just with long shot. And so it'll probably be a good half hour before he makes it back to the Akundalar.
He's practicing for when Tongue
you
is
do
on
some
the
target
ship.
practice.
Doing some target practice against live targets this time.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
You find that there's so even more interesting than normal. You find that there is a power plant that has recently been dealing with a mimic infestation.
Ooh. Well, that's fun.
So
Guns are great
that's-
for mimics because the weapon doesn't stick to them.
Yep. Well, especially mimics in Stardust are slightly different than mimics in D&D. Mimics in Stardust are basically a pest species.
Mhm.
Their natural form is that of a sort of chitinous, many-eyed giant rat. And they're commonly a problem on spaceships because they tend to disguise themselves as regular objects, and when no one is looking, chew on electronics because they feed on the energy of electronics and energy devices. So a mimic infestation is generally bad for power situations.
Okay.
They're not that dangerous. They're basically giant rats that can shapeshift. But they're still dangerous for like letting them go too long.
That does explain why Coltarn will wander the ship occasionally, just shouting "mimic check" and punching random parts of the ship.
Cool.
But meanwhile, Kendall and Mistle,
Yeah.
you arrive at Tongue's place.
Knock on the door, ring the doorbell, whatever.
Yeah, you wait for just a second, and the door swings open, and immediately in the doorway is Tongue. He is, as the door opens, he is already doing the like elbow on the wall lean.
Delightful.
As the door opens, and you see that he's a relatively well built troll, tall, like even for troll standards, about like 6'7", lean, with not wearing a shirt right now. Which, to be fair, you never saw him wearing a shirt. So
The door has like a gap right at elbow height, so he can get in position before it opens.
Right.
So it's just like the bare like abdomen, upper torso. The underbelly scales are this sort of like pale, like accented yellow, whereas the main body scales are this sort of like blood red. Um, he has this like faintest fringe of hairs that sort of forms like a short mohawk that sort of drives from like around the upper end of his head down to about the middle of his neck.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a very more than most trolls has sort of like a snake-like face, where others have more crocodilian or various other reptile facial features. And the tongue, which is forked and prehensile like a snake's,
That explains it.
sort of slithers out for a second as he looks down at you. Ah, Candle. Good to see you again.
Hey. So I've got a question for you. This is Mistle.
I missed all.
Still? Nice to see you.
So you want to hop on a spaceship with us?
Been a long time since someone offered me a ride. Where to?
Not that long.
Perhaps not.
So we're going to name of the where our destination
Walk
is.
here, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to Volkir, and we are long story short, we can explain more later, but we're trying to get a hold of something, and in order to do that, I need to have my memory erased at some point.
Yeah, so
I
you
figured
came,
you'd be good at that.
so you came to
among other
Tungashi
things.
so that I can blow your mind once again.
Absolutely.
Tungashi?
Yeah.
Can you spell that?
There's a
for me?
reason.
Sorry, what's that name?
TUN apostrophe GASHI.
Fantastic.
Kendall, I thought his name was Tongue.
No, that's short for Tungashi tongue. You get it.
Doesn't sound okay.
Narrator. She did not.
So yeah, that's a plan. I thought you would be perfect for it, and I thought you wouldn't mind taking a little trip. Am I wrong?
I think I could be persuaded. It sounds like fun. Why not?
Awesome.
So, where are we headed? Well,
So
to walk here, but first.
right. So I don't know if you need to get anything together. Where the ship is, I'm gonna give where the ship is. To show up, we'll let you in, and we're not taking off like now, but soon, I would imagine.
Let me just get my instruments and I'll meet you there.
Awesome. All right, see you in a bit.
He sort of pushes off the door. It shuts on its own without him having to do anything about it.
Yep.
He gives you a wink right before the door shuts.
Till is gonna be really jealous.
Right.
I
Anyway,
can't
let's head
wait.
back. And I can still fly, so
I
because I assume it hasn't been 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
I
It's
can't
not as
wait
fast as Till was going,
for
please.
I can't wait for the inevitable scene of Kendall walking in on Tungashi with one of the other members of the Dust Knights, and then
Oh, that's fine.
having a whole just bit on Wolkir.
That's fine.
So you make your way back to the ship.
Yep.
Probably before Till does, because he's out shooting mimics.
He's not shooting
Right.
rats.
Head in. Is Justa still standing in the entryway?
No, Justice
As
is in
often?
the observation deck at this
Okay,
point.
okay. So go find whoever the first person is we find.
Probably one of the mechanical crew members that is walking,
Yep.
that is heading towards the bridge, with Coltarn behind them.
Actually, Shawnee, where would Justice be?
At this point, the observation deck is probably a good place for sparring. So probably there.
All right, cool.
Welcome back, Kendall.
Hey, thank you. So we're gonna have another guest,
Yes.
the memory erasing
Tongue.
guy.
Yes.
Tangashi.
We heard. Oh,
Yes,
we were.
he'll be here in a minute.
Till forgot
in a
to
few.
Till didn't turn off his comms, so we were listening.
Of course
to
he
the entire
didn't.
Conversation.
That require him having forethought.
Yeah.
It's all good. Everything's fine. So
I figured it would be.
Tangashi will be here in a bit, and I don't know when we're taking off. But
Well, the crew is prepared, and gesturing towards
Alright.
the mechanized crew. So as soon as Till gets back, we can take off.
okay.
Well, Till and
William, can we,
Tangashi.
or would they still need a few? I thought they still needed a few days to install the drive.
No, the drive was being worked on immediately, and the last
Okay.
thing that needed time was the crew.
Was the
that-
crew?
Which,
Okay.
as I recall,
Okay,
was
cool.
today was the day that we'd be done with that.
Yeah,
so.
today was the day
there
that
we
you'd be
go.
done. So yeah, with the crew done, the drive's been installed, and you're good to go.
Okay. Till knowing that, then.
Well, so for you, I would have called. I would be about just about to call and let you know that the crew.
Oh, okay.
finished, so.
Then yeah, roll for it then.
So, yeah,
yeah.
so then
Mhm,
just-
absolutely.
Reach up, tap the side of his head, and didn't describe it earlier, but basically, whenever Coltarn uses his comm, his cybernetic eye just blinks rapidly to show that he's doing something, and so it hits the thing. His eye begins to the light in the cybernetic eye begins to blink rapidly as he's calling Till.
It'll probably ring about 4 or 5 times, and then Till. Go ahead.
Till, the mechanized crew are completed and heading to their stations now. So whenever you and our passenger arrive,
Gunshot.
it'd be good to set off. Sorry.
All right.
The gunshot startled me. I don't know why.
Sorry, just making sure I have this thing sighted in.
Very good.
All right. Yeah, I'll be back at the Akundalar 5-10 minutes tops.
All right. See you when you get there.
Excellent. Click. And Till's gonna wrap up whichever one he's shooting right now, and see if he can pick up some Athumla on the way back to the Akundalar.
I will say that because someone probably asked you to do this job, you can use the pay that they would have given you to
Okay.
basically purchase a dose of Autumbla for void jumps.
Alrighty, and he'll have that in his inventory then. All right then. And then Till shows back up probably about 5-10 minutes afterwards. There's probably at least some residue from Mimic still on him. But he'll just swan back into the Akundalar.
Purple blood splatter.
How are
Yeah.
the sights?
Pretty well. Pretty well. I think we're good on this one.
Good.
Crew's up and running though?
Yep, they're at stations and preparing pre-flight checks. So as soon as we are,
Excellent. Has Kendall's friend showed up yet?
has Tungashi showed up at this point?
It's at this point that there's an alert on the docking bay to request for entry.
There he is.
Let's go say hi.
Follow Till down.
So excited.
Price
So
is
you-
also going to come
You head down to the airlock, and
Yep.
it opens, and standing before you is the troll I described earlier, still not wearing a shirt. He does, however, have a black bandolier sort of wrapped around his torso, that has a variety of what look like both arcane and technological inscriptions upon it, and a pair
Please
of
tell
wrist
me he
brace
has
and
the
a pair of bracelets that have sort of the same things on them. And he's got a bag sort of slung over his shoulder that he's holding with his left hand.
Please tell me he has a keytar.
He has a lot of things.
Hi there, bud.
Coltarn does not successfully hide that he stares a little bit too long at the bare-chested troll.
Hello, it is good to meet the crew that I will be journeying with. My name is Tungashi.
How tall is this guy?
About 6'7".
Okay. So Till looks up at him. Till Wayland just sticks a hand out.
And reaches out, and his hand is... Trolls have variable basically everything except for the fact that they're reptilian. His hands are specifically four-fingered.
Right, okay.
So he reaches out, long, slendered hands with...
Like shaking hands with a really big gnome. Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Akundalar. I'm sort of the captain here.
Good to meet you. I understand my expertise might be needed for whatever plan it is that you are hatching.
So it seems.
Well, I will be glad to provide it. It's been a long time since I've been to Wokir.
Gonna be my first time, so if you got any local insight, that could be helpful as well.
I can provide a few things. For one, when you're pulling in, do not argue with the docking master, or you might get shot out of the sky before you even dock.
Well, we just got this thing up and running, so we're going to try and avoid that as much as possible for the near future.
You're going to have to introduce yourself quickly because you're flying a ship that is a Republic of Kingdoms make. They don't like that.
Okay.
So make sure to hail first. Don't wait for them to hail you.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, well, we're probably going to get underway pretty soon, and I need a shower at some point, too. So, Coltarn, can you, figure out a cabin for Tangashi here?
What? Oh, yes, absolutely.
What, you don't want to put Kendall in charge of that?
Wherever's fine. If Kendall's got ideas on where that would be best suited, by all means, consult with her, but you know the ship as well, if not better than anybody. So,
I have been largely the one putting it back together, so I will lead him to guest quarters, because we definitely have those, because the ship is large enough for us to have guest quarters.
Oh, absolutely. There are more rooms here than you have people on this ship.
Yep. Hence the initial idea of making this a mobile base for the Dust Knights rather than...
Hell yeah.
So, couple things.
Yes.
One, Kendall definitely wasn't there, but I feel like she was listening in and like watching it through monitors.
Absolutely.
She's going to connect to Coltarn's comms and suggest a one of the whichever guest cabin is closest to Till's room.
So whichever one's closest to the elevator, because I assume that the ship's large enough that probably the guests are on a different level of the ship than the crew quarters.
Probably. Yeah.
Oh, so setting it up so there's that constant encounter of why is this guy always on the lift when Picard is going to the bridge kind of thing?
Yes.
But yeah,
Amazing.
wherever she can think of as a place that would realistically be like, okay, this would work as a place for him to stay. That is as close as possible to where Till's cabin is, or where Till walks regularly. Because I feel like Kendall knows Till's
probably
movements
definitely
through the ship.
Well, William, would I be incorrect in assuming that there's probably a guest cabin immediately across from the elevator, from the lift on that floor?
Oh, absolutely. There's
Yeah.
almost certainly a guest
So
cabin
it's
that's
like-
directly across from the
it's
elevator
just-
on the guest floor.
You cannot get onto this floor without passing his room, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you set him up there.
Choice.
He steps inside, and the first thing he does is like drop his bag in one corner, and the other thing he does sort of step into the center of the room, sort of spin around, look at the walls. Yes, this place seems like it has good acoustics. As he sort of brings his hands up, and the center of the bandolier hanging around his chest begins to glow, as do the wristbands, as a saxophone made of hard light appears in his hands.
Yes.
And he just sort of brings it to his mouth and begins to play a few notes. Puts it down, it disappears into thin air, flicks his wrists again, and a drum set appears in front of him with drumsticks made of hard light, and he starts to bang a few notes. This is a one-man band of hard light, and he goes through several instruments, so just testing the acoustics in this room.
Hey, this guy fucking rules.
Coltarn does not flee. But he goes, I'm glad you appreciate the quarters. If you need anything, feel free to buzz the comms. And just very quickly just excuses himself to the elevator to leave.
He absolutely does that move, Jeremy, because he was literally playing saxophone.
You say shirtless man with saxophone, I immediately go to Lost Boys.
But that is where we're going to take our break.
All right. Those of you that are watching live, please stay tuned for these cross messages. Remember, when we take our break, you take yours. So stand up, stretch your legs, move around, do whatever you need to do. And we'll be back in just a few minutes. we're back. A dinosaur story. And we're back.
So,
A dinosaur story.
Tungashi has been given a room that is directly adjacent to the elevator. And the ship is ready to go. So what's next?
Still head to the bridge. Do the departure procedures and pilot the Akundalar on her maiden flight away from Gilgamesh Station, I guess.
So you guys just abandoning the Golden Ash Volkir?
Didn't we use that for...
It's in the hangar bay, I believe.
Well, we have to come back for when we wrap this up anyway, don't we?
Do we?
I mean, we gotta drop the
We
or
heavily-
if we get the orb,
Oh, yeah,
we
you
have
do
to
have to
bring
bring
it
the orb,
back.
yes.
Or yeah,
That's true.
We heavily cannibalized the Golden Ash Volkir for repairs on this on the Akundalar, so however much of it is left is probably disseminated about the hangar bay.
The Explorer only really has hangar capacity for 4 dogfighters. It does not have enough capacity to carry an entire fucking
It was riddled with
Corvette.
holes when we got it. Like,
or transport.
yeah, no, I'm not saying we've got a whole ass ship there. It's mostly in pieces.
yeah. I feel like Till would have whatever we didn't need off the Golden Age Valkyr to patch up the Akundalar. Till would have been using his shipwrights training to sort of decommission and put it into effectively wherever on the Akundalar you would put your spare parts.
Yeah, because spare parts for
Right,
repairs is what it is.
Right, we've broken down as much as we can of the Golden Age Valkyr and brought it with us to use in case of raw materials that we might require.
Cool.
Use every part of the spaceship.
All right. So, make me a piloting check, Till.
Which I would say also, like, any external markings that that make this ship like recognized by any sort of nation would have been changed and adjusted, and also it definitely still looks a little patchworky, thanks to the bits of the Golden Ash that we used to repair it.
Perfectly average piloting.
I want to come along to the bridge. Ostensibly to menace, but actually to observe how this particular ship works.
Yeah.
Because Surprise does enjoy piloting.
And for those who have never seen or had me describe how the piloting system of almost every ship in the galaxy works, the pilot's chair for the person who actually does the helm steering and operating is essentially like a lifted up off the ground sort of swiveling bucket seat that is designed for people to be able to sit into, that has a pair of basically descending arms that sit in front that have a pair of cylindrical controls that extend out for handhold. That the left arm, the left arm generally controls pitch and directionality and like adjustment on the ship, and the right hand controls motion, sort of like omnidirectional thrust and just general in input of velocity.
Outlaw Star style mechanics.
And then there's a variety of like holographic projections that you generally will use the fingers that are holding the grip to cycle through for things like ship systems or firing main handguns and so on.
Cool.
And this is the same system that just about every ship in the galaxy uses because the goblins standardize.
Oh, Johnny,
Makes sense.
So if you know how to pilot a ship, you know how to pilot any ship.
Most of them.
Johnny,
Some of them do use proprietary systems, but for the most part.
Do we have stat blocks, or would you like me to make up stat blocks for the mechanized crew?
Yeah, just use the mechanical art, the construct from the
captain. I figure like a construct
captain.
of equivalent level to the party, basically. For the
No, they're not even equivalent level to the party. They are not combat capable.
Okay, yeah. I was just thinking more for the skill checks than anything else.
Yeah, they don't do a whole lot of skill checking. That's just to keep the ship operational.
Cool. All right.
But with an 11, it's a little clunky at first because the Akundalar is several times more massive than the Golden Ash Volkir was.
Yep. Makes sense.
But you eventually managed to get it out of the dock and moving relatively smoothly towards the Void Gate around Gilgamesh.
If he
Gonna take some
seems to be
getting used
having
to.
trouble, I'll offer assistance.
He doesn't seem to be having trouble so much as just sort of getting used to the size and scale. It's like he knows how to drive. He's just never driven a truck this big before.
Is there like a co-pilot's station or anything though?
Yes, there is a station where like navigational advice can be given, and where if the pilot is injured for any reason, a secondary piloting seat can be provided.
Yeah. Till will definitely ask Surprise if she feels good taking that spot though.
The prize is down.
Excellent. Team pilots.
It's generally a good idea on ships this large to have that kind of co-pilot seat because it lets the pilot not be constantly in the seat. But you bring the ship in and take the Void Gate. You are journeying from Void Gate Gilgamesh to Void Gate Volkir. So the ship, the shutters on the ship slam down so that you are not witnessing Ginunga Gap as you enter the Void Gate. And what feels like simultaneously a mere moment and an eternity pass as you slip through the realm of nothingness and arrive and emerge in the space of the coalition of tribes.
Who would we have? Since he'd been given the advice by Tangashi beforehand, I assume there's a separate comms station. Yeah.
Yes, there is a comm operation.
Okay. Till would have asked either Coltarn or Xander probably to take that.
Yeah.
There is a communication system aboard the ship.
Now then, I'll patch into it.
Okay. With the well, Coltarn was there for the advice, so the whole like call them before they call us. Yeah. No.
This is Coltarn Starbreaker of the Akundalar of the Dust Knights, calling from the Akundalar to landing authority on Volkir.
This is Darkmaster. State your business with coming to Volkir.
Coming to what? Sorry, we would have worked this out earlier. What actually is our business coming to Volkir again? Information gathering, but like,
we're on a contract with the Core Adventurers
right.
League.
Well, we're on the contract for the Goblin.
Yeah, technically the Goblin Alliance Trade.
Goblin
Trade
Empire.
Consortium.
Yeah.
So
Goblin Trade Empire. It's called the Trade Empire. They call themselves a consortium for more public, friendly sounding names, but they are officially the Goblin Trade Empire.
Okay, yeah. So the GTE, we're on a contract with the GTE.
Yeah.
Is there a box on the survey for dragon fucking?
We are.
Is that something you have to declare at customs?
We are members of the Core Adventurers League on contract with the Goblin Trade Empire, coming to Volkir for refueling, rearming, and also information gathering.
Running your identities with the Goblin Trade Empire liaison standby. There's a moment that passes. Your identification checks out. Head to docking bay. Hang on a minute. I need to check my fucking Orcish language document. 1 second.
Oh, I'm looking at that too. While you're there,
Yes, you had a question.
yeah, I'm thinking of naming the mechanized crew. Hang on. Where is it?
Till's gonna call them all Jim.
I was thinking like Cargrog for honest people.
Yeah, fair enough.
Would that be the clinch the orientation there?
It would be Grogcar.
Grogcar. Okay, so yeah, so
Adjective goes after noun.
Gotcha. So yeah, so then so the mechanized crew are Grogcar.
Jim, great.
So yeah, the yeah, so yeah, it says your identification is cleared. Proceed to docking bay Torfash 7.
Synchronizing flight plan. Which I assume is the thing we have to do.
Yeah.
Considering spaceships coming into dock.
Yep. Till will grab his control sticks and then tag one of the hollow buttons. Surprise, you want to take us in?
Surprise will take over.
Roll me piloting
Um,
with advantage because they are sending you docking instructions.
am I? Where do I click to do that? Nope,
So
not there.
you would want so
You probably make a tool out of it.
Yeah, you don't make a tool skill, a tool for piloting.
I'm just gonna roll a d20, and y'all can
D20 plus
fix
your
it.
dexterity plus 4.
Hey yo!
Well, I think that settles it.
There you go.
Yeah. So with an extra 20, yeah, you very, very smoothly, just sort of keeping the docking instructions in mind, glide the ship into dock. And as you descend, you are out of Ganunga Gap, so you can have the void shield risen, so you can actually see where you're going. The ship descends onto a stormy, clouded blue marble that is Volkir. The planet appears to have a highly active atmosphere as you enter. There's a decent amount of turbulence. This place definitely seems to be largely it's more water than land, but a decent amount of land still. And the atmosphere is regularly storming. But as you descend through the cloud layer and actually get a clear view of the planetary dock below, you are greeted by this is the first time that I think any of you have seen Orcish architecture, aside from the shipwright building of the Golden Age Volkir. What you see is a unique blend of Spartan and pragmatic steel, almost brutalist steel architecture. Very, very solid, well-built construction, with a cultural marriage of that looks like it dates back to ancient history. With the very efficient and Spartan structures being decorated and made more ornate by lines of Orcish text that tell a story, or skulls of great beasts, or ancient long draping ribbons of cloth that are marked with identifications of what the place is, or if it's like relevant to a particular group, their identity and their history. This place has a unique marriage of form and function that is not seen anywhere else in the galaxy. But it is form quite literally over function, in which that the function is the baseline and the form is overlaid on top of it. As the ship is brought in to dock, a set of docking clamps that, again, is very solid, well built and sturdy magnetized clamps that are stylized to like be addressed as if the opening maw of a pair of wolves that just sort of reach out and expand and clamp down on the sides of the ship and hold it in place. As the vessel is locked in place, and a message in Orcish, which is then rapidly translated by the ship systems, says, docking complete, cleared for disembarkation.
All right. I'm going to just do basic diagnostic on the ship to make sure nothing was damaged in the landing. Not assuming that anything was, but better to double check.
Ship seems to be holding up just fine.
We are...
Yeah, Till took about 30 seconds of being ready just in case surprise and needed some backup, and then after less than a minute into their piloting was just like, yeah, nope, they got this. I barely need to be here.
Systems are green all around. We are good to leave the ship.
All right. Till's gonna make a pass through and see how everybody's doing.
Strida looks excited to be on this planet. She's heard stories of Volkir and has wanted to be here for a while.
Awesome.
Is she on the observation deck?
Probably, yeah.
What is she doing? How is she conveying that excitement?
So as the ship is coming down, she very much just sort of like walks up to the observation deck glass and just sort of places a hand on it, and you can see that she's like just taking in all of the planet as they approach. Both like as the ship passes through the storm, she sort of watches the lightning crackle between the clouds, and then as it passes under, she sort of leans her head as far as she can to try and get as much of a view of the incoming buildings as possible.
Do we have any view of the system star coming in before we enter the storm?
As you do, it is the star of Volkir burns blue.
Okay, all right. Have you traveled here before, Strida, child of conflict?
I've only ever heard stories. The warrior soul of Volkir is well renowned, especially in Victory's Temple. I have heard many tales, and I have always longed to witness this planet for myself.
And what are your goals for when we arrive?
To take in all I can and see what this place is like and what its people are like.
How did we do against each other while sparring?
You have, even with the weird construct that is your memory, a significantly higher degree of experience than Strida does. However, Strida has a raw talent and physicality that is owed to the fact that she's a demigod, right, that is difficult to overcome. Where you are almost certainly the better swordsman as far as skill goes and training, her raw talent and strength is difficult to overcome.
Do you anticipate being drawn into challenges?
I think there is so much I could learn from the warriors of Volkir, and from my understanding that Victory had given me, the people of Volkir are trained in every aspect of life, but especially in the art of combat from very young.
I am certain you will teach them just as much as they will teach you.
I don't know what I really have to teach. I was never really trained at Victory's Temple. I was simply expected to win, and I had to do all of my learning basically by osmosis and instinct. Victory might be incredibly capable, but she's not a spectacular teacher.
There is a value in learning to fight someone without the same style of training that one has. You can teach them to approach the unexpected.
Maybe. Still, I look forward to this.
Kendall is paying attention to a different view.
Coltarn, after doing his initial checks, is going to like leave the ship and sort of see what they need to do to get the ship hooked up for refueling legitimately, just to make sure that we're topped off, and then B wants to genuinely is curious about the home of his parents, and that he's never been here before, so he's gonna see the sights.
All right. So you guys, anyone else? I'm assuming everyone is heading off the ship at roughly this point, as after the docking has been completed.
What about
Jasira?
no, Tungsten? What's his name?
Tungashi.
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 Is Togashi heading off as well?
Probably, yeah.
The first time Justus sees them, Justus will go, "We have an intruder," and we'll draw their sword.
Mistel probably would have told them about. I put a thing in chat that Mistel went to find just us and was telling them about
I
everything.
didn't see that. Oh no, I see it now. Okay, all right, fair.
Well,
I was excited for someone to try and stop it, and for Kendall to say, no, let's see how this plays out.
Does Surprise know that Coltarn hasn't been to this planet before? Has he mentioned?
I don't know if he's. I don't think he would have ever mentioned that he's never been to Volkir to anybody.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I just thought
it's not really something that's ever come up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Till's headed down to the disembarkation ramp, and is just waiting for everybody to come through.
So eventually, the entire humanoid crew arrives to disembark, including Tungashi.
Yep.
All right. Well, just so everybody's on the same page, our main point here is to see what we can figure out about Faust, his history, his interests, anything we can find so that we can have the best option of establishing a decent diplomatic relationship. And based on our recent conversation with the Oracle of Nocturna, we're going to most likely have the best outcome, Janya says, if we can make allies with Faust. So if there's anything you can find about his past doings or potential future goals where our impulses might align, it gives us a baseline of common ground that our diplomatic team can start to build on. Anyway.
About this time, Kendall just starts laughing at a joke that's been made by Tengashi.
And it's also at this point that Tungashi also speaks up to the rest of the group. A word of advice for those of you who have never been among largely orcish communities. As a general rule, do not interact with their companions unless either the companion approaches you first or you have been granted permission.
When you say companions, what exactly are we talking about here?
You will see shortly.
Does that mean anything to us?
Roll history.
Does that mean anything to me?
Yeah, I would like to potentially,
Probably not.
if possible.
Yeah.
Nope. It's an 8.
Yeah. 18, if I can.
This doesn't spread too far outside of traditionally Coalition of Tribes territory, but you recall something about orcs and animals being very important.
Okay.
Wolves.
But the dock opens and you are free to leave.
Step out into the stormy sunshine.
Till will leave last. Mm.
You wouldn't happen to have any idea where on planet we might begin looking?
Libraries, maybe?
Lovely. I'll just wander off.
The best places for information gathering are typically bars.
So the instant all of you step off the ship, it is immediately apparent what Tungashi was talking about. Nearly every other orc that you see has some form of animal companion with them, whether it be a wolf, a raven, a bear in some cases. Various animals of various types all accompany the majority of the orcs that you see. All of them appear to walk no leash. Many of them don't even have a collar except for as some form of identification. But they all sort of walk with this air of companionship alongside the majority of the orcs that you see.
When I get my Death Ray gadget, I'm installing it in a cybernetic raven.
Do any of the animals have modifications or cybernetics or anything that we see?
A number of them do,
Okay.
but it usually appears to be like replacement of injuries. Like some have like lost
Okay.
a limb and have had it replaced or something like that.
Right. It's
None of
not,
them-
hey,
none-
I had a bear and I thought if it also had chainsaw spikes on its back, that would be cool.
I mean, some of them have something like that, but it's usually as part of some kind of reconstructive cybernetics.
Okay.
Like you see a wolf whose like right paw appears to have been lost and it's been replaced with a cybernetic one that also happens to have what appears to be like buzzsaw blades on where the claws would be.
Right. Mm-hmm. Cool. Good to know.
Immediately after stepping out of the ship, is there anything that from the landing pad? Is there anything that catches my eye, just as I look around?
I mean, aside from the animals.
Aside from the animals, obviously, just like point of interest that might seem worth looking at. Well, 100% honest. Learning about Faust is like secondary on his brain right now.
Yeah. You do note that there are very few people here who seem to be walking without purpose. There are not many people who are either loitering or just wandering. Almost everyone who is walking through this area of docking is either going to or from a place they need to be now, or are standing in a position of this is my post and I am here right now. There is very little just casual traffic.
Yeah.
And the point of interest that you notice is there appears to be a docking information authority, where you can see there is an orc woman, a set of braids that sort of drape down to about mid back, and an owl that is sort of perched on her left shoulder with one cybernetic eye, that is sort of manning a computer desk on like a kiosk.
Coltarn is immediately heading there.
And
Given
you
that-
you
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
go on.
Given that Till's mentor was an orc of Volkir, Till's going to take to the sky and just try and do an aerial survey. See if there's anything from Fellcutter's stories or teachings that resonates with anything that he's seeing. Especially if he sees anything that is like, holy shit, there's another orcish monastery, maybe even practicing the same traditions that he was taught in.
Yeah. Roll me perception.
14.
As you look around, wow, you're rolling like shit.
I am rolling like shit today.
As you sort of fly up and look around, the first thing you notice is the winds get very strong the instant you leave like ground cover. The second thing you notice is there's a lot of lightning rods built into a lot of these buildings.
Cool.
And you are very quickly making yourself somewhat higher than a lot of the lower buildings.
He's going to trust to his dex saves and acrobatic skills and do some shit that's a little reckless. He's going to ride some wind currents that he has not had a chance to in a very long time.
And yeah, it's very easy to glide. So and you try and make sure that you stay lower than the highest building.
Yeah,
basically.
right. Just yeah.
Spider-Maning your way through a storm.
Yeah.
But as you go, you do see one thing that you see as you fly up is a fixture that your master had spoken of often, which is the mouth of the wolf, which is a large mountain-like fortress. Wolkir is a orcish word that means the wolf's rest. And the mouth of the wolf is a enormous, was a mountain and has been made into a fortress.
Nice.
That has been reshaped into and you can see the front of it is dotted with defensive spires that are covered in guns and various defensive measurements that are built out of both the front, the top, out of the ground and out of the overhang of the mountain in the shape of fangs.
Gotcha.
Which is why it's called the wolf's mouth. And inside you can see massive amounts of command structure and large amounts of infrastructure and buildings. The wolf's mouth is the seat of government for the planet of Wolkir.
Gotcha. Iconic landmark does not look like a tourist destination, though.
No, it is definitely
right.
Well, unless you're a diplomat, in which case you will be going there.
Right.
And it does strike you, an individual like Furiel Faust is probably a diplomat everywhere he goes.
Right. Okay, cool. That's good to know.
There is probably no government that does not want to know when he's around.
Fair enough. Understandable.
Do any of the people have insectile companions, or are they all? Okay.
There are not many that have like swarms of them, though some do. But for the most part, when you see an insectile companion, it's something like an enormous fucking centipede that's like the size of a horse that sort of follows one of them around.
Okay.
That's terrifying.
I think bees are more in evidence around just us.
Just 100
yeah.
horse-sized legs.
Yeah, the thing that you're gathering is that an individual from Wolkir's favorite class is Ranger.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Orc's favorite class, Ranger. Coltarn's headed to the information desk. Is anyone else headed there or somewhere else, or some of you just like heading out of the dock?
Justice will hang back and make sure nobody goes off on their own, other than Till, I guess, who's looking to play lightning rod.
Speaking of Till, with the rest of your perception, you do
Yeah.
spot a monastery that is built in the same style as your master's. It is a short distance away from the Wolf's Mouth, probably not a long walk, and probably serves as a training point for Iron Path monks on the surface of Wolkir.
All right. He'll start heading that direction then.
Kendall is mostly keeping an eye on Till currently.
As you're keeping an eye on Till, you see Till sort of flies up in the air in circles for a minute, and then takes off in a direction.
He'll get about 30 seconds along his route and then just send a voice broadcast to the rest of the comms. I see a place that I might personally be welcome. I'm going to check there. Call me if you need anything.
Surprise is going to, after taking a moment to just look around and see the various landmarks that have been described, walk over to Justice and say, "How's your Orcish?"
I'm gonna check real quick. I don't think it's great.
Do you have the language?
Yeah, that's what I couldn't remember offhand. Just Us will say, extremely lacking. How about yours?
Same. If I could speak the language, I'd go check the records. Seems like a sensible place to start, but who am I to be the sensible one?
Why don't we go to the records and see what they have available in other languages? Perhaps they have interpreters.
You do know that most things in the galaxy, if it's public record, will probably also have a copy in Goblin Basic. However, like important records that the people of Wolkir would not want necessarily anyone to have access to would almost certainly only be kept in Orcish.
Well, then we are not going to be stealing the important records today because we can't read them.
We are certain we could likely obtain copies.
Coltarn can read Orcish
Oh,
and speak Orcish because he's an orc.
copies. That's good.
And do we? Is Colton already headed to the Hall of Records?
Now, Coltarn is headed to the information desk on this level of the docks.
Okay. Do we know where the Hall of Records are?
You would probably have to like check an information desk, like the one that Coltarn is headed to get directions around the city.
That would probably be helpful, but Surprise was planning on just heading towards the governmental building. So it's a good thing Surprise isn't by themselves.
Where's let's see. What is the smartest looking animal around us?
Coltarn.
Probably.
You know.
So do you mean typically associated with wisdom or like actual like intelligence score on beast level?
No, I mean like which looking around at the companions, which ones seem most alert, I guess is actually.
Roll me animal handling.
Okay.
I thought you were going for the archaic meaning best dressed.
11.
So the thing that you notice is that the majority of the animals here seem more alert than you would typically associate with animals in the wild. They definitely seem to be more, whether it's natural, whether it's part of Orcish training, or whether it is something supernatural. The animals that are companions to these orcs seem smarter than you would expect.
Justice is going to get into a fight immediately.
I'm excited.
So just okay, then in that case, what is the closest animal to me?
There's a guard who has a wolf sitting next to them.
So Justice turns to the wolf and it just sort of kind of turns away from Surprise, and then from the bees, Actually, I think it's probably the bees. The bees go over to the wolf, and then the buzzing of the bees sort of condenses into an approximation of sort of huffs and growls and so on, and they will shape themselves into a wolf-like shape so they can approximate the body language too. And I'm going to use my Swarmkeeper free cast of Speak with Animals and say, "Hi, what's the most boring place around here where they keep lots of paper and people stare at them a lot?"
The
Immediately breaking the suggestion.
Yeah,
I
immediately
love it.
ignoring Tangashi's.
This is delightful.
So the wolf just sort of looks up at the collection of bees in front of them, and there's just this sort of warning growl. And the orc standing next to them, immediately you see this is a guard who is standing there with a heavy bore assault rifle, is just sort of like standing guard, and just sort of looks at just us, and just like there's this like low growl from them that almost mimics the wolf's as they just uh
Uh,
they just
I
sort of
would
they
like
sort of
to
look
step
over they look
in.
over at just us and go as I try and remember my thing
Can I
Excuse
try
me,
to
sir, are
mitigate
these
the
your bees?
situation?
as one as you sort of knock, leave my companion to his rest.
Oh, was the wolf asleep?
And he was sort of just sort of lounging. He wasn't necessarily asleep, but he wasn't doing much.
Okay, that's why I was asking about alert. But
I mean, he looks alert, but he was resting.
okay, all right.
He wasn't like patrolling or anything. He was just sort of sitting and watching.
Justice says, "We did not want to distract you from your watch, and your companion seemed to have some time. We are seeking the Hall of Records."
The orc just sort of bares teeth. Then you should probably seek the one who gathers information and provides it. And indicates to the booth that Koltar is headed to.
Are you unaware of its location?
It is not my duty to provide you with that information. It is my duty to protect this dock.
To surprise, this is going to be more difficult than we initially expected.
That's okay. We can manage it together. And I'm gonna start walking, like take just us by the elbow, start walking just us over towards the information booth.
There is a brief moment as you take the elbow where the arm just like detaches and comes away, and then the rest of the
Surprise
body
doesn't slow down.
No, I mean, I figured this is normal ethereal stuff. It's just like the rest of the body is lagging for a moment, and then it's
I
like,
love it.
The bees sort of reform and just go, "Okay, bye," and come back to follow just us in surprise. That was to the wolf in animal speak.
The wolf doesn't deign it with a response and just goes back to like resting its head on its paws and watching the area.
For the remaining 10 minutes, the bees will continue to say hello to animals that they pass.
Most of them don't give you the time of day.
Okay. Let me know if any do.
Most of them are guard animals, so no.
Okay. It does not stop bees.
So the one that does answer you is the owl on the information on the information attendant's shoulder, because that's their job.
Okay. Colton's already there, I assume.
Yeah, so Colton, you arrive.
I've been there
first.
for 2 minutes.
You've been there.
Before we get to me, was Missile or Kindle doing anything?
You've been there the whole
I have
time.
been.
Mistle's probably with Kindle right now. So wherever Kindle's going.
Kendall was just sort of spacing for a bit, sort of just watching after where Till went, and then eventually, I think once the growling starts, sort of starts and run. Where are we going?
I have no clue.
They're going that way. We should probably go that way with them. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Start meandering that way.
All right. So yeah, once Colton got to the information booth, in Orcish that very clearly sounds like studied Orcish, not raised Orcish.
And it also has a particularly dwarven accent.
It also has a particularly dwarven accent. Excuse me. Where would I look for information on ships of Wolkir that were reported missing about 20 years ago?
The woman who looks probably like middle-aged by Orcish standards, probably like in her 40s, maybe 50s, sort of looks up as you speak from her information desk, sort of looks you up and down. Trying to find your past, eh, foundling?
I hadn't thought about it until literally just now, but yes.
That kind of information will probably be best found in the public wings of the Wolf's Maw.
Looks around and looks like, can it be seen from here?
No, because there's like walls in the way.
This is my first time in my life, as far as I have memory, being on Wolkir. How would I get there?
Once you exit the dock, you can't miss it. It's the large mountain that has been turned into a fortress.
Thank you very much for your time.
Is there anything else, any other information I can get you while you're here?
I think that's it. Public record, you said.
Yes.
Without looking behind, he's just going to start heading out the docks and trying to see if he can spot the place.
I think like right at this point, the bees come up and say to the owl, "Hi, where do you all keep the records?"
The owl looks at the orc whose shoulder they're sitting on. The two of them look at each other, exchange a couple of noises, and the owl looks over at the bees. You will find what you seek within the mouth of the wolf.
He was grumpy and didn't want to talk to us. Okay.
Within the mountain, young ones.
Oh, okay.
And the orc looks up at just us as the bees communicate with the owl. Can I help you?
No. The bees come back, communicate. Just us turns and says. And I guess just sort of points at Coltarn and says, "Follow Coltarn."
Oh, Prize nods and heads off that direction.
So just a slightly distant chain just following Coltarn.
Make way for ducklings.
Do Kendall and Mistle even stop at the information desk, or do they just like keep following as they follow?
I feel like follow probably.
Okay.
We all split up only to go to the same place.
So the group of you step onto the elevator, and again, it's this sort of very, very Spartan steel box, basically. The buttons on the elevator are ornamented with Orcish runes, but they also every now and then flicker to Goblin Basic so that you can tell what they say. And you hit the button that indicates for the ground floor, and the elevator heads down.
Coltarn is, while in the elevator, is studying the elevator, trying to get a grasp for how much his understanding of Orcish technology matches to what he's seeing, and just sort of like bridging the gap between, if there is one, bridging the gap between the two.
There's a minor gap. you sort of got the idea in your head that orcish technology was built for aggression, when in reality it's just built for directness.
It's just that most
Everything that orcs build has a purpose and is built for that purpose.
Did anybody catch up with Coltarn to ride the same elevator as him, or are we all catching the next elevator?
I don't know. Would Coltarn have waited?
If I turned and saw them heading towards the elevator, he would have waited. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, everyone catches up then.
Surprise just sort of whistles in the elevator.
Do you all know where you're going?
I'm just following Just Us. He got the instructions.
We're following them, all of them.
To look over towards Just
He
Us.
told me to follow you.
Huh.
They told me.
This would seem to be the Hall of Records. We had hoped.
This is an elevator. The Hall of Records is the governmental building, which we should be able to identify as soon as we get out of the elevator.
I'm glad somebody got the direction.
Oh, okay. Well, then it seems we're all heading in the same direction then.
Coltarn, how about nobody's friends here are that much fun? Say the bees.
What are you talking about?
We tried to talk to some of the other companions, and none of them wanted to talk, except for the owl.
Well,
The owl was nice.
Tongashi had indicated that we shouldn't try to talk to anyone's companions unless expressly asked to or allowed to.
Right.
Yeah, but what does he know?
We're also companions,
More
so
than the
we
rest
thought it
of
would
us.
be okay.
At least about.
Tagashi, who is in the elevator, having
Yeah.
followed with everyone else, says, "It was amusing to watch you try. So, another thing you should know about the culture of Wokir. The people here follow a society that is built on two pillars of their community.
I hate rigid pillars.
Well, I mean,
There is
unrigid pillars aren't really good at being pillars, so.
Exactly.
There are two of the orcs of Wokir.
Oh, pillars.
Yes.
There are two of the orcs of Wokir, two aspects of life. There is who one is as an individual, and their ideas and pursuits, and there is who one is to the community in which they belong. Often, these aspects of life are kept very separate and become entirely different personas within the idea of who it is to be an individual upon the planet. When a guard is acting as a guard, they do not do things that are not part of their life as a guard. When it is their job to stand and protect, they do not have much truck for idle conversation. If you wish to learn, you should find one whose role is to teach.
That seems
That
to
seems
be an admirable clarity of purpose.
it seems rather speciesist to me. That assumes that we all get the chance to grow up.
To be fair, you are not expected to live by the same rules that they do,
Well, then why is he so mad?
because he is doing his job and his role. Whether or not you follow his role, he would rather you respect his own position.
It's like we talked about surprise. Everyone gets to learn to people in their own way. This is how these people have learned. We don't have to do the same.
I just think they're a bunch of spoil sports.
The elevator hits the bottom floor and the door opens.
Immediately out the elevator.
I think you'll find that there is more fun to be had when you're not speaking to a guard. Try
That's generally the case.
try speaking to a barman. It is part of their duty to speak and to offer consolation and information.
Yes. Mandatory fun.
However long we're on this planet, it might just be too long.
Meanwhile, Till,
Nope.
you soar and cross the distance, and your feet alight on the steps of the monastery. As you look, there are a pair of individuals sort of standing on either side of the main entranceway, both of them decked in a variety of guns, but wearing not much else aside from basic clothing.
Till will sling long shot over his shoulder, put it down on the stairs in front of him, unholster the Fiersal revolver, and just slowly and ceremoniously disarm himself like he was taught. And then sit at the bottom of the stairs with his weaponry in front of him and just wait to be approached.
As you do, the door to the monastery opens. And a third individual, also orcish. You've only seen a handful of people who weren't orcs. Most of them that aren't are Kardosh or trolls. But this individual steps out, and you see that they are feminine. Their entire head has been shaved except for a single long braid that has sort of been tied around their neck, almost like a scarf. As they step down, you can see that they have no guns immediately on their front, but you can sort of see there's a harness on their back that has a variety of pistols that sort of hang behind them, almost like a cape of guns.
Gun cape, gun cape.
As they step down to the bottom of the steps to look at you, they observe you briefly and then look down to the firearms you carry. They kneel for just a moment and place a single hand on each of the weapons. You carry yourself with purpose, and the essence of your equipment speaks of your experience. Welcome to the monastery, child of the Iron Path.
My name is Till Wayland. My master is Burrick Fellcutter. I am an initiate of the Iron Path. He carried the knowledge of this planet into the stars and found me a willing student. If his name means anything to you, I would honor him here in whatever way the masters of this monastery deem acceptable before asking my own requests.
I am Trakron Toran, though you will know me as Keeper Garak, or Keeper Garas. Should you wish to study your art here, you are welcome. Should you need should you wish to share it. Know the history of my former master and his exploits outside of this place.
Hill will nod and begin to stand and rearm himself, and then just follow wherever she leads before beginning his recitation of his training under Fellcutter's work.
He will, or she will, lead you inside. And as you enter, you see that the very first room in this monastery, as you're familiar with at yours, is a firing range.
Mhm.
The entryway of the monastery is a place of training, because from the moment you enter the monastery, you are a student.
Mhm.
And this is true of everyone, even the masters. And as is tradition, as the keeper Garas walks through, she takes a shot at every target she passes. None miss.
Hill will use the revolver, I think, in order to follow her example.
Mhm.
Since that's what he first trained on.
Just make me an attack roll in general.
Okay. 26.
With a 26, none of yours miss.
Excellent. Good. I don't shit my pants walking through the front door.
I made an excellent revolver. You use it well.
Yeah, you did.
The expectation is as you seek entry, you take a shot at every target you pass, and if you miss one, you stop until you hit.
Right.
Do not proceed until you have hit the target. Which means the more novice individuals might take a while to get past the entryway.
Till we'll follow the keeper.
And they will lead you into basically an interior garden, where the materials used to cultivate ammunition. The garden is a place where they grow the natural ingredients of their particular ammunition. It's very rare for an individual to load their own to make their own ignition for ballistic ammo, because most people just get standardized magazines. But this monastery seems to take pride in mastering all aspects of the firearm, the construction, the operation, the maintenance, and they seem to make their own powder and case their own shells.
As he goes in, if he sees any other monks or initiates around, he'd be keeping an eye out, and the main thing he'd be looking for is whether or not anybody uses energy or laser weapons, or if everybody's carrying ballistic armaments.
The vast majority are ballistic.
Okay.
There are some energy weapons in use, and you suspect, probably, as is similar tradition with the ballistic weapons, there are probably places where the individuals there learn to operate and maintain and construct the energy batteries that are used to handle those weapons as well. But the garden is most prominent and most obvious of those places. As she leads you into the garden, she sort of lets a hand out and just sort of brushes past a couple of the plants, and finds basically a small meditation clearing, like a small circle of stones in the center of the garden, and just sort of walks to the opposite end of it, turns around and sits. And just gestures for you to sit on the other end of the ring.
He'll sit down, and he looks at her right in the like the voice box level of the throat, not quite meeting her eyes. I met Burrick Fellcutter on the night that I received this. And he gestures to the corner of his face where all of you would have seen he's got like a half circle scar of an arc. Definitely looks like he got stabbed by a bottle.
Mhm.
During that period of my life, I was frequently a target for those whose aggression outstripped their wisdom. Feldcutter believed that with the proper training, as someone who had been more often a victim, I might be able to protect those of similar origins to myself. I was not a talented student. For many years. 5. I struggled under his training. And what I did not possess in talent, he taught me to make up for with effort. The neighborhood that we shared on Gilgamesh Station was eventually made safer by his teachings and leadership and refusal to accept the tyranny of the strong. After 5 years of training and with his guidance and knowledge, he judged me capable enough that one morning I awoke and he was gone. I stayed until circumstances pulled my course from that neighborhood as well. But his wisdom and teachings left it a better place in his wake. And whatever good I did there in his absence was defined by the example that he set for me.
It has ever been my master's habit to teach only until his lessons were no longer needed, and then go to seek those who were in need. He was never one to stay in one place for long. Though he left in his wake those who either would or would teach those who eventually would. I am the one who elected to stay and keep this temple and see to each new generation of those who would walk the iron path. As I am sure my master taught you as well. The path of iron is not one of strength. It is one of resilience. It is one of judgment and the power to effect change not by force, but by precision. And I felt that my most accurate shot, as it were, would be one that was fired not by my hand, but by a student that I would place in the world.
Hill gets a little bit of a wry grin, and there's a glimmer at the corner of one of his eyes. I hear the echo of his voice in your words.
So tell me, Why are you truly here, Till Wayland?
My companions seek information on Furiel Faust. They have voted me their leader, and therefore we require the best knowledge of the dragon that we can achieve in order to most safely gain what is required of him.
You've explained to me why your group is here, Till Wayland. But why are you here? And as that question echoes in the air, that's where we're going to end for the week.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye!
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.